Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra's 2023 season launch, both to our wonderful audience here in beautiful Hamer Hall and also to all of you joining us live on YouTube. My name is John Nolan. I'm the Director of Programming at the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, and I will be your host for tonight's launch. I'd like to start tonight by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we're gathered on tonight, the people of the Eastern Kulin Nation, on whose unceded lands we honour the continuation of the oldest music practice in the world. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now tonight we are revealing our 2023 season. It's a huge season of over 150 concerts featuring extraordinary artists, groundbreaking collaborations and some of the greatest music ever written. To introduce the season to you tonight, we've assembled an amazing lineup. You've already heard our amazing orchestra at work with Jaime Martin, and Jaime will be back on stage in just a minute. We'll also hear from some of the other brilliant creative minds behind the season, and our musicians will join us to take us through some of their highlights. Now, brochures will be available for you to collect at the end of tonight's concert. All of the events will be on the website, ready for you to book, and as Sophie said, our box office in the St Kilda Road foyer will be open. Now, the 2023 season marks 20 years of the wonderful partnership between the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra and our principal partner, Emirates. To celebrate this milestone, please welcome Dean Cleaver from Emirates. Thank you.
Hi, John.
Lovely applause.
It is, thank you.
Dean, I've just got two questions for you, just to set the scene tonight. This partnership between MSO and Emirates is such an enduring one. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is about MSO and Emirates that is such a good fit?
Well, I don't think a lot of people realise, but both organisations, as much as they are different, one's an airline, one's an orchestra, but the DNA of both organisations are very, very similar. We both have wonderful customers, very loyal customers, and we actually, why I think the most common thread is we try to provide world-class experiences in our industries to our customers. So loyal customers we've both got, and we try to provide the best for them.
Beautiful. And obviously this partnership has many benefits for the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, but it also has benefits for our subscribers, our members, our audience. Can you talk us through those?
Look, the main key one, which a lot of people don't realise, it's very tangible. We all like to save a few dollars along the way. And in our case, of course, it's called an airfare. It's been there for some time, but we've teamed up with the MSO through the MSO website. You can access it. But we actually provide an 8% discount on whatever airfare you'd like to buy, whether it's row 1 or row 89. But we do provide a tangible discount, and you can find that on the MSO website through the partner link you'll find there. Just click onto the Emirates partner portal through the MSO website.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and
Absolute
thank
pleasure.
you for your 20 years of support for the MSO.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Now, please welcome Chief Conductor of the MSO, Jaime Martin. Hello.
There you go.
All right, yes, please take a seat.
Oh, thank you. I really need that. Oh.
There's a glass of water there.
Yeah, I need it also. I couldn't find one there. I'm sorry for this. I've been rehearsing the whole day, and I've been standing up just somewhere here. So it's very nice to sit down. I might stay here forever.
Yeah, you're welcome to. You're welcome to.
Thank you very much.
Well, look, Jaime, we're just going to have a lovely chat for about 20 minutes and hear all about the 23 season. It's wonderful to have you back in Melbourne for your second visit this year. How have you enjoyed being back? What have you been getting up to?
Oh, you made me work very hard. You know, it has been incredible, you know, this second trip. We've done so much music. You know, when I think about the first week when we had Sheiku, and then we did a new piece by Boyd, Shostakovich, cello concerto, New World Symphony. Then the following week, 3 Stravinsky ballets, Firebird, Petrushka, Rite of Spring. Then last week, Berlioz, Harold in Italy, Tchaikovsky, Manfred Symphony. This week, Thomas Adès, The Exterminating Angel, Ravel Piano Concerto, Sibelius 5. And all this in the last few weeks. So it has been, but you know, I have to say that it is good to stay here for a long period. You know, normally this life of being a musician and going from one country to another is, usually you don't have time to see a place, you know, you do the concert and then the next day you fly back home and then go to the next place, hopefully with enough time to put the washing machine somewhere, wherever you call home. But, you know, to be here for 5 weeks, this thing has been fantastic. You know, I've done the most amazing things. I went to, on my second week, I managed to have 2 free days to go to Uluru. And actually, you came with me. Then it was a working trip, you know.
Did a lot of planning.
We did lots of work, and I even had to put myself became a table for his laptop. But it was wonderful to be there, and it was so incredibly inspiring. I recommend this to anybody. And then 2 weeks ago, also, I had another couple of days off, and then I hired a car and drove the Ocean Road, the Great Ocean Road.
It's great.
And it was also so good, you know. I managed to see kangaroos. What do you call when you see a kangaroo, a little kangaroo that goes inside?
A joey.
Yeah.
A joey.
Well, I saw that, and you could see the legs outside and crawling inside. And then when jumping, I don't know how could jump with
The joeys were?
No, the mom. I saw these kangaroos, then I saw koalas, I saw amazing, and then what do you call the 12 apostles, that there are not as many as 12.
No.
But I arrived there by, you know, when the sun was going down, and it was magical. I spent the night in Port Ferry, and was very nice.
So I didn't get to go on this trip.
You didn't do it, but you know, this is a fantastic place. And here in Melbourne, I've managed to, you know, to have lots of lovely branches, especially, you know, South Market, how you call Fitzroy,
Yeah.
Richmond. It's quite an extraordinary place. So I am very happy.
You're a Melburnian now, I think.
Well, I am becoming one,
yes.
slowly.
Yeah. All right, well, look, we're already behind schedule. So,
Come on, let's push on.
Let's talk about 2023. So, Jaime, you'll be conducting 11 programs in the 2023 season, but really those programs have inspired the whole season and fed into all of the concerts across the year. So, can you talk us through your 11 programs with MSO?
The opening concert of the season, I am very happy that the first sounds I will do with the orchestra will be music by our new composer in residence, Mary Finster. And actually, I talked to her a few days ago, talking about her new piece. So we are going to do this new piece that this piece is still cooking. Then we will perform the Strauss 4 last songs with the amazing singer Siobhan Stack. And then I am very happy to say that Siobhan will be our soloist in residence during the next season. So I am so happy about this. I've never worked with her, but I have heard her a lot. This last season, she's been working with Berlin Philharmonic, London Symphony, everybody. And then in the second half, we will do, in the first concert, we'll do Mahler 5. Mahler Symphony No. 5, which is a huge piece, and anyway, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And Siobhan is a Mildura girl originally.
That's true.
Yeah.
I went there.
You were there earlier this year?
Last February.
This February.
This is February now?
I don't know.
No, this is August, no? I went last February.
February this year. Yeah.
Yes. I went to
Oh, wonderful. Well, shall we move on to the second concert?
Yeah, the second concert, we have a piece by Margaret Sutherland, another amazing woman from Melbourne. And actually, I think she has been a very important person for the music, especially in Melbourne and in Australia. We are playing a wonderful piece called Haunted Hills. It's not played very often, But you know, since I am a foreigner in your country, I want to get to know as much music from Australia as possible. And since in my first program I'm going to play a new piece by a living composer, Mary, I wanted to play also music from, you know, the reason we are now here. And I think people like Margaret Sutherland, they have been complete heroes, just to be composing at the time that to do that for a woman was like not very easy, let's say that. So we do this, and then Siobhan will be with us for a wonderful piece by Debussy, Forgotten Songs, which is orchestrated by Brett Dean, which is, as you know, a wonderful composer. And in the second half, we are going to play another huge piece of the repertoire, which is the Strauss Alpine Symphony. So
there won't be any room on stage for us.
Will
on
be
our
no
couches
room,
on that
but this, I think, Alpine Symphony will be an ideal piece to show the incredible lush sound of this wonderful orchestra.
Absolutely. Well, look, and this beautiful program has actually inspired one of the themes that you will see right across the season, and that is music inspired by the natural world. Let's take a look. So that's your first visit, and then you come and visit us again in April of 2023.
Yes, and again, we will do a little offering. This will be a huge project for us. We are going to put together an amazing piece by Benjamin Britten, the War Requiem. And I think, oh, you like War Requiem? So you're coming to this concert. Very good. You know, I think the War Requiem is an amazing piece, and it is a huge piece. It needs two orchestras, so the symphony orchestra, chamber orchestra. It needs children's choir, and for that we introduce our ensemble in residence for next season, which is the
Gondwana Voices.
Gondwana Voices. You say that much better than me. And this is an amazing group. I've never worked with them, but I have heard them, and I cannot wait to work with them. The soloists for the War Requiem will be Toby Spence, Samantha Clark, and David Greco. So I think this will be wonderful thing. And we have decided also, because we live in a difficult time now, you know, war is in the corner, and I think it's important to, you know, to have peace in the horizon. So together with the War Requiem by Britain, later on in the season, we are going to perform again a wonderful piece by Deborah Cheetham, which is Jumerala, which is a War Requiem for peace. You know, the Britain War Requiem is written in English. Jumerala by Deborah Cheetham is written in the Gunditjmara language. So I think to have these two pieces in our season, I think is appropriate. You know. Anyway, at least that's what I think.
I think Deborah was also really inspired by the Britain when she wrote Jumerella.
And at the same time, I think, since Jumerella was a piece written for this orchestra, when was premiere?
2019.
2019. I think it is right to make this piece to be part of the repertoire of the orchestra, and I think all of you will love to hear it again.
Yeah, absolutely. The week after that we have, not the week after that, for your next visit, I made that mistake earlier too, didn't I? We have the Winter Gala.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a big
And
one.
for the Winter Gala, we are going to welcome a new soloist that she's going to make the debut with the Melbourne Symphony, which is extraordinary. It's one of the most amazing pianists at the moment.
Wrong concert. The Rachel.
Ah, this is later on. This is the next gala. This is the gala. No, for this gala, actually. But since all our soloists are fantastic anyway, so then, for this gala, instead of a woman is a man, but doesn't matter. And instead of the piano, plays the violin, but that's fine. And it doesn't. It's not his debut with the MSO, but doesn't care. And actually, it's not the first. And it's not the first time with me either. I mean, because I have worked with him before. It's Ray Chen. I'm sure you know him very well. And he will play the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. But in this concert, we are celebrating 2 birthdays. We are going to play a piece by Ligeti to start with, which I love. It's the Concerto Romanesque. And this will be in June. And if I am not mistaken, in May, just 1 month before, will be exactly 100 years of the birth of Ligeti. So I thought I wanted to do our little celebration because I think Ligeti is an amazing composer. But in the second half, we are going to do a big celebration, which is one of the themes of our season, which is Rachmaninov. Rachmaninov, we celebrate his 150th birthday, so happy birthday, Sergei. And in this particular concert, in this gala, we will play the Symphony No. 2.
Well, and as Jaime says, this is one of our themes across the year, and so we'll be marking his birthday with performances of quite a few pieces by Rachmaninov. So let's have a look. Oh no.
What have I done?
So then the week after that amazing winter gala is NAIDOC week, and we're working on a really special project for that week that Jaime will conduct, but we're not quite ready with it yet.
We are not there yet, but I am very excited about this concert.
Me too. So you'll just have to wait. But then the week after that we have a concert, interestingly called Fantastic Devotions.
Well, and for this concert we'll have our Gondwana voices again, and we are going to play, actually, we are going to start the program with a piece that I have done a few times in Europe and I love. It's a psalm for choir and an orchestra by Lily Boulanger, which is a French composer, another woman. I think we should hear a lot more of her music because I think it's extraordinary music. And then we are going to play a piece by Brett Dean, Vexations and Devotions, that was written for the Gondwana voices. So that's very good. And then in the second half, we do the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. And this partly was inspired by last week, having played Berlioz Harold in Italy with the orchestra. And I don't know, it's something about Berlioz that I don't know why. I am very attracted to it. Maybe it's the craziness of his music, I don't know. And anyway, this is what we are going to do in that concert.
And then the week after we have a concert called Friends and Admirers, which is a fitting title because it's with a fellow countryman of yours.
Yeah. We are going to bring a Spanish pianist, which he does really his debut with Melbourne Symphony, unlike Ray Chan. But his name is Javier Perillanes. He's a wonderful pianist. I have played with him in many occasions, actually not very much in Spain, but in Europe. Last time I played with him was the Ravel Piano Concerto that we are doing this week. So he's going to play with us the Brahms First Piano Concerto, which I think is an extraordinary piece. And in the second half, we will do Dvorak Symphony No. 6.
Oh, amazing. We're at the Spring Gala, I think, which is called Symphonic Tales.
And this is when...
This is not Ray Chen.
And this is when we have this pianist that is going to do her debut with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, in case you have heard that. And she's extraordinary. I have worked with her before in Bremen. And she's an amazing pianist, amazing personality, and an audience favorite. She's Katia Bunatisvili. and she's fabulous. So I am incredibly excited to introduce her to our orchestra and to our audience. She's going to be playing Tchaikovsky First Piano Concerto, and we are going to start the program with Paul Dukas, the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which you might know from the film Fantasia, with brooms moving up and down. And since we are into the world of magic and mysterious lands and extraordinary people, then in the second half we will play Scheherazade by Rimsky-Korsakov.
Amazing. Well, when getting towards the end, so then we've got a program called, another nature-inspired program called Nature's Transcendence.
And for that, we will play another piece by an Australian composer, and in this case will be Maria Grenfell. And this piece is called River, Mountain, Sky, which is very appropriate to our nature year. And I am very excited in that program to welcome a fantastic violin player. Again, I have nothing against other countries in the world, but I am going to bring for you a Spanish violin player who you have to know her. She's fantastic. Her name is Maria Dueñas. She's 18, and she won the menuing competition, I think 1 or 2 years ago, I don't remember. And I have worked with her. It's absolutely fantastic. This season, she has played 3 different concertos with Los Angeles Philharmonic, including a new premiere of a violin concerto written for her with Gustavo Dudamel and Ontura. I mean, she's just everywhere. But she hasn't been here. So let's bring her when she's young, and then like that she will...
She'll love us forever.
She will love us forever, and you will want a lot of her. She will do the Beethoven Violin Concerto, and we will continue with the Dvorak Symphony No. 5.
And this actually brings us to another one of our season themes, and that is that across the season we'll be performing 5 great violin concertos with wonderful soloists from around the world. Jaime's already mentioned Maria and Ray, but let's have a quick look at our great violin concertos. Now we've got just 2 more programs to go.
One, after such huge pieces, we are going to do Strauss, Alpine Symphony, Mahler 5, Berlioz Symphony Fantastique, World Requiem, Scheherazade. I thought we need a program to almost come back to essence. And we are going to do something that I've been wanting for a long time to do, which is in the same program to perform Mozart's last 3 symphonies in one concert. So 39, 40, and 41. I think these 3 pieces are one of the huge achievements, not of music, but I think these are one of the huge achievements of humanity, I think. I think you would put these 3 symphonies as, it's one of the reasons we are human. So I cannot wait to do this program. And then the last program that I am going to do with you in the season, we continue with the Rachmaninov birthday, Rachmaninov 150. So we will do the Paganini variations for piano and orchestra with the Australian pianist Andrea Lam. And then we will start the concert with a fantastic piece, and I really mean fantastic. I mean, if you listen to this piece on the radio while you are driving, you think, what is this? This is amazing. It's by a Polish composer, a woman called Grażyna Bacevic. And this is wonderful. Wonderful music, but really fantastic orchestration, really beautifully written. And I don't think the orchestra has played very much, if ever, her music. And I think it's worth it. And then in the second half, we do Shostakovich Symphony No. 10. So I think we have lots of different composers, different styles, different soloists, Soloists I know from the past. Soloists will be the first time I work with them. The combination of Mary Finsterer as a composer in residence, Siobhan Stack as our soloist in residence, Gondwana Voices. I am so happy, really, about working with all of these.
Thank you for creating these wonderful programs for
Well,
us to enjoy.
thank you for allowing me.
Yes, bravo. Now, I've got two more questions for Jaime, but before I ask them, I'm just going to introduce you to the rest of our artistic family. Jaime's already mentioned quite a few names, but we're lucky to have an extraordinary artistic family for 23. Ben Northey, of course, wonderful Ben, continues as Principal Conductor in Residence and will actually mark 20 years since he first conducted the MSO, which I refuse to believe. Surely 20 years ago, Ben was 12 or something like that.
But he's so young.
I know, it just seems ridiculous. But we will have a special 20th anniversary concert at the Town Hall in November for Ben. Wonderful Shen Zhang, our principal guest conductor, returns with 2 beautiful programs, and you'll be seeing a lot more of Carlo Antonioli, who's out there tonight somewhere, in his second year as our Cybec assistant conductor. As Jaime said, Siobhan Stagg will be soloist in residence, Gondwana Voices, the National Children's Choir, will be ensemble in residence, and we have 2 wonderful resident composers, Mary Finstra as composer in residence and Melissa Douglas as young composer in residence. So Jaime, there's so much amazing Australian talent in the artistic family, and you've programmed so much Australian music. We're also commissioning a lot of music. Why do you think commissioning is so important?
Well, I think to commission new pieces is incredibly important. I mean, this year we are going to have 17 new commissions written for the orchestra. And you know why I think it's important? I think commissions, asking composers to write music for us, I think it's to create a link between the past and the future. You know, at the moment we are playing lots of music by composers that lived some time ago or live now, but I think it is very important to have now people writing music for us that people in future generations will be also listening to, and I think it is exciting, and also it's a responsibility. We have to do it, and we have to help the creative input. I think it's so important to have new painters, new musicians, new sculptors, new poets, new writers, and I am incredibly proud that from the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, I think we are doing what we have to do, and then to have 17 new pieces written in 1 year. I think this is a great achievement, so well done.
Oh, well done. Now, just one last question, which Jaime told me I wasn't allowed to ask him, which is, what are you most looking forward to in the 23
Thank you very
season?
much.
Sit down.
So what am I looking for?
What's your highlight? What are you most looking forward to?
You know, the thing is that I told you not to ask me this question because it is an impossible question to ask. What is your favorite book? Yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's so difficult, you know, because, you know, at the moment, for me, the best music ever is Sibelius Symphony No. 5 and Thomas Adès' Terminating Angel and Ravel Piano Concerto, because this is what I am doing today, and this is what I am performing. I've been the whole day rehearsing this, and tomorrow I am doing a performance, and I chose this music because I love it. So, yeah, today, this is my favorite. So you are asking me, what do you prefer, Alpine Symphony or Mahler 5, or War Requiem or Symphonie Fantastique, Scheherazade or Dvorak 6, Mozart 41 or Mozart 39. It is all amazing music. So I don't know, if you ask me what, there are 2 things. If you ask me what a challenge to put together, I will say that the War Requiem is an extraordinary challenge, and I am very excited to take this challenge. If you are asking me what piece I would say if I meet somebody in the street, if I am if a taxi driver, an Uber driver, tells me, oh, I've never been to a concert, and I say, well, I'm a musician, why don't you come to one? And if I had to recommend somebody I meet in the street, if I had to recommend one program, maybe I would recommend for a newcomer to come to the Scheherazade concert, because Scheherazade is such an amazing piece that you can let the imagination fly. And in that program also we have Katia Bonatisvili doing Tchaikovsky and Dukas, Sorcerer's Apprentice. So maybe for a newcomer that would be a good piece. But don't ask me these things.
Impossible question.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. Well, Jaime, thank you so much for joining us.
Very nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Oh, right. Well, that was wonderful, wasn't it? Moving on to other things. So since 1967, the MSO Chorus has been the voice of Melbourne, and in 2023, you will be able to hear more of them than ever. If you love choral music, 2023 is the year for you. We will start with Carl Orff's epic masterpiece, Carmina Burana, which we will be... which we will rather... foolishly maybe be presenting in the Sydney Myer Music Bowl as part of our series of free concerts. As Jaime said, in April and October, you can hear those two great war requiems, the first Benjamin Britten's monumental work, and the second Deborah Cheatham's powerful Eumerella, a work that's entirely in the Gunditjmara language. Jaime's also already mentioned Vexations and Devotions, again with the MSO Chorus and also with Gondwana Voices. But then in December, we have a wonderful Christmas double bill. First, Messiah, of course, with 4 wonderful Australian singers, and then the MSO premiere of Sir James Macmillan's new Christmas oratorio, which will be conducted by the composer himself. And the MSO Chorus will present 2 concerts on their own, Rachmaninov's stirring all-night vigil and Handel's joyous coronation anthems, both with Warren Trevelyan-Jones conducting and both in the glorious setting of St Patrick's Cathedral on Eastern Hill. So we have just an amazing lineup of choral masterpieces with MSO and MSO Chorus in 2023. Also in 23, the MSO will play host to 2 extraordinary ensembles. Jazz at Lincoln Centre Orchestra and Wynton Marsalis will return following their sellout performances on this very stage in 2019. I'm sure some of you will remember those. And they will be performing Wynton Marsalis's epic piece, All Rise, with the MSO and MSO Chorus. And I'm sure you've already heard that the London Symphony Orchestra with Sir Simon Rattle will be performing 2 programs here in Hamer Hall, which will include Mahler 7, Debussy La Mer, John Adams' Harmonie Lyra, and Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe's Second Suite. So tickets are already on sale for that one. If you haven't already got your tickets, you can add them to your MSO subscription, but you should do that very, very quickly. Let me see. Now, Australian music, as Jaime was saying before, has always been a big part of MSO's DNA, and 2023 is no exception. So to talk about MSO's commitment to Australian music and some of the 17 new works in store for next year, please welcome our 2023 Composer-in-Residence, Mary Finstra, and our Head of Artistic Planning, Catherine Bartholomew's-Plowes.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
Shall we take a seat? So, Mary, welcome, and thank you so much for being our Composer-in-Residence in 2023. But this is not the first time you've worked with MSO, is it?
No, indeed, John. I was actually thinking about this over the last couple of days. Can you hear me now? Is that good? Thank you. I think the first time I worked with the MSO was 1992.
Wow.
When I actually wrote a fanfare for the MSO. Gunther Schuller conducted, and that was the most exciting entree into working with the MSO, and since then, over the years, I've done different things, but more recently, a few more occasions. So.
And were you the mentor for the SIBEC Young Composers program quite recently as well? Is that right?
That's right. Over the last few years, I've actually been working in the SIBEC program. That's really exciting. There are so many different composers, so many different styles that are coming through. It's always different. It's a great energy around the SIBEC program. I really enjoy, because they are so different and they're all very enthusiastic with their ideas, they love to really challenge themselves. And working in the SIBEC program gives them the opportunity to really extend themselves in this really secure environment. They get a lot of, they're led through this really beautiful process where all of the, the different concert masters have an input, and they learn a lot along the way. So the whole process is really...
It's a wonderful program. And so you've actually had quite a long journey with the MSO, but I think about 5 months ago, Catherine and all three of us sat down and to have a coffee, and we offered you this role as a composer in residence. What does that mean to you?
Well, the life of a composer is quite odd in a way, in the sense that you part of the regularity is the irregularity of working with different ensembles in different places, different sizes, different instrumentation. And so the whole idea of working with one orchestra for a whole year and to develop repertoire is just an extraordinary opportunity. It's also really a wonderful opportunity to develop a rapport with the same musicians, because it's not necessarily a part of your experience as a composer. So it's really rather special, because the MSO, I go back a long way with the MSO, but I also live in Melbourne, and as Melbourne is my hometown, and it's just a privilege, actually.
Well, it's a privilege for us too. Now, just very briefly, because we don't want to give too much away, we want to save a bit of surprise for next year, but can you just quickly take us through the pieces you'll be writing for the orchestra next year?
In the opening concert, I'm writing a short opener. And so without thinking of it too much in the style of a fanfare, I thought, what else can I bring to this really beautiful concert? And that is, because it's an opener, I thought it has to have a kind of a flavour for a little bit fanfarish, but I didn't want to take it down the sort of pathway where one might, expect the same kinds of things. So I thought I'll add a little bit to it, and I've brought into that piece an influence going back actually to the 1200s, the motet. So, and I've called it Mysterium because it's just to pay homage to that kind of aesthetic that they worked with then.
And then the second piece is Lumen, is that correct?
Yeah, so Lumen actually comes from the... it's an orchestral cycle. I'm really excited to be working on that. It's actually a development of a piece that I actually, Catherine invited me to write a small work as part of the Singapore-Melbourne Symphony Orchestra's collaboration. And so I wrote this work called Lumen Prime Aurora, which is actually taken from a poem from Hildegard von Bingen. And it was such a wonderful experience to work on that work. With the musicians, it was, so what I thought was that I'd really love to develop that into a cycle. So there's that one. And then finally, I get to write a Stabat Mater, which I've wanted to do for years, and now is my opportunity to actually really compose a large work for choir and orchestra.
Yeah, which will also get its premiere in that amazing St Patrick's Cathedral, which will be a very special night.
How inspiring is that cathedral?
It's going to be extraordinary. Now, Catherine is the head of artistic planning. She works really closely with Jaime and I. She is the one that cracks the whip over us and makes sure we get the season planned in time for launch. So it's actually all because of Catherine that we've got something to launch tonight. Now, Catherine, the Starbuck Martyr performance that Mary mentioned will be part of our Metropolis festival. Can you tell us a bit about what Metropolis is and what we've got in it in 2023?
Absolutely. So Metropolis will be returning to a festival-style format, so we'll have 2 programs in 1 week. The first being Mary's exciting new setting of A Stabat Mater, and the second being a new commission by Katie Abbott. Katie will be writing a peace concerto, working with David Jones and Carmen Warrington. It's going to be a really, really special evening, out of the box, concert experience, very immersive. I don't want to give too much away, but I'm quite excited about this one, yeah.
Well, it's wonderful that Metropolis features these 2 significant new works by Melbourne composers this year, which is fantastic. So, Catherine, we saw that there are, Jaime told us there are 17 new commissions in for 2023. We don't have time to go through all of them now, but just maybe some highlights of what we can expect of those 17.
Absolutely. So 60% of the 17 commissions are written by women, which I think is great, yes. We will have 3 by Mary, 3 by our young composer in residence, Melissa Douglas, and a new work written by Elena Katz-Chernin that's been commissioned by the Weiss family.
Wow, amazing. Well, look, one more question for both of you. It's the question that Jaime hated. What are you most looking forward to in the 2023 season? Or maybe a highlight. It doesn't have to be a single thing, a highlight.
This is a really tough one, John. I did, go through this scrupulously, and I'm still at odds. So I can't even think about choosing one over another because that's just impossible for me to do at the moment.
It's a season of highlights.
It's a season, but I have to say the real highlight for me is really working with the musicians. I'm just so thrilled to be working with such esteemed, generous, humble musicians. It's great.
Oh, wonderful. Catherine, your highlight?
I'm also going to sidestep the question. I don't have a specific concert that I'm excited about. The highlight for me is that we will have more great female conductors on our podium. We're going to feature Elena Schwartz, Jessica Cottis, Shen Zhang, and rising star Chloe Van Sertestede. Now, Chloe is going to be conducting Elena Katz-Chernin's new work. It's a double concerto written for violin and cello, and it will feature our own musicians as soloists, so Del Baltrop on violin and Rachel Tobin on cello.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Mary, thank you for taking up this position and agreeing to create what I know will be just glorious pieces for us. And Catherine, thank you for getting us to the finish line on time. Thank you. So in just a moment, we're going to hear from some of those wonderful musicians that Mary was just talking about. But first, I'm just going to quickly tell you about some of the work MSO will be doing away from the main stage in 2023. Firstly, MSO presented our first schools concert in 1919. And in 2023, we will welcome over 10,000 school students through our doors for a range of performances, open rehearsals, and workshops. And all 10,000 of those tickets will be priced at $9 or less, thanks to a generous anonymous donation, which is wonderful. We will also present our 4th annual Melbourne Music Summit, which is a week-long series of events designed to inspire and support the wonderful music educators of Victoria. Outside of Melbourne, we will continue our wonderful, very proud regional touring tradition with concerts in, and you have to bear with me here, Bendigo, Ballarat, Horsham, Hamilton, Shepparton, Wangaratta, Warragul, Warrnambool, and of course, Geelong. And I hope there's some of our Geelong audience here tonight. But for our Geelong audience, we will be returning to a full series of 5 concerts, which will include visits from both Jaime Martin and Ben Northey. Now, I think we've got a Geelong subscriber here. Now, getting the season on sale is always just a humongous effort for our very hard-working marketing team. And our Director of Marketing and Sales, Dylan Stewart, has been leading this massive operation, and he joins me now. He doesn't get to walk out to applause, he just has to emerge from the darkness.
Story of my life.
Now, Dylan, one of the key things your team does is bring together the season brochure, which is a massive undertaking, and also the beautiful artwork, some of which you've been seeing tonight. And here is the brochure.
I've been told to pop my hip
All right.
when I show this. Thank you.
Now, look, I think our audience is going to love this year's brochure, but it is a little bit different to previous years.
It is. You will find that it is maybe a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier than previous years. And that's because we have taken great care to showcase the breadth of what the MSO does. Not only what we do on stage in our subscription concerts here at Jaime Hall and in our other venues, but also the other activities, some of which you were just talking about, whether it be schools, whether it be regional touring, whether it be some of the themes and ideas that underpin what goes into this season. So it's all laid out there, as well as, of course, how much your subscriptions cost.
But it's also it's in chronological order this year, isn't it?
Absolutely. It starts in January, goes all the way through to
So
December.
the season opening gala won't be at the back.
It won't be at the back, no, it'll be somewhere near the start, somewhere.
That seems logical. So the brochure obviously includes information on all the ways that people can subscribe or buy single tickets, but do you want to just run us through it very quickly now?
Absolutely. So our website is now live. I have been informed that we have had a couple of subscriptions renewed already.
Oh, you're missing out.
So that's amazing. Yes, no, if anyone already has their set series seat, that will remain for a little while yet. We have our box office team ready on the phones from 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm also happy to share that our box office team is going to be back here in Jaime Hall up on St Kilda Road level for the next couple of months. So if you have any queries, any questions about your series, about how to renew, about individual concerts, we've got a great team of box office staff members who are going to be there, eager, willing to help. They will be upstairs until 9 o'clock tonight, so please say hello on your way out. And we look forward to speaking with you and welcoming you back into the hall next year.
Well, thank you, Dylan, and congratulations on getting this amazing thing ready and getting the season ready for sale.
Thank you. Can they applaud me when I leave?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, dear. Now, it's time to hear from some of the musicians who will not only be the stars of the 23 season, but have also been a massive part of bringing it together. Please welcome Dale Baltrop, Anne Blackburn, and Nick Bochner. Oh, well, here we are. Thank you for joining us. So I've got a question for you, Nick, first of all. You lead a secret triple life.
Indeed I do.
Yes.
Now you've outed me in front of all these people.
That's right. So we all think you're just a cellist who's been in the orchestra since
1998, when I was 12 years old.
But you do some other things.
I do. Over the last few years, I've been very fortunate to get more involved with the learning and engagement programs that we run at MSO, which are really fantastic. So I've done a bit of presenting in the Ears Wide Open, and I'm now actually managing the Ears Wide Open program, Emerging Artists, and our relatively new Music and Ideas series.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about Music and Ideas or Ears Wide Open tonight yet. Can you just tell us what those things are and maybe share one or two highlights?
Well, Ears Wide Open, I have to say, it's one of my favourite series. I was very fortunate to be here when Richard Gill started the series. And I think it's this fantastic opportunity for audiences to get to know a little bit more about a piece of music. And we actually take a single piece of music usually and spend about an hour and 15 minutes together, and we delve into it, we pull it apart with the orchestra on stage, and there's some performance, which really, the more you get to know the sort of repertoire, the more you learn to love it. So that's Ears Wide Open. Music and Ideas, it's kind of like an extension of the Ears Wide Open, the idea that the more you find out about the music, the more you get out of it. So in a Music and Ideas event, we have open rehearsals, very much like what you saw earlier. We have masterclasses, because of course MSO is able to bring through some of the most amazing artists in the world, and it's great for them to be able to share their knowledge with the local students. So we have, I think next we have Siobhan Stagg, Ray Chen, just to name a couple. So that's a wonderful program. And we also have some panel events where we delve into some of the themes. So next year we'll be taking a really close look at Mahler and nature and music, that sort of thing.
Wonderful. And you mentioned briefly as well that you look after the emerging artist programs at MSO, which is actually about 7 different programs.
Yeah, emerging artists, it's a really rewarding thing to be involved in. Of course, I mean, as you get a little bit more advanced in your career, you start thinking about where's this heading, where's the new energy coming from? And MSO is doing a great deal to sort of bring a whole lot of new strands to the art form. So we have an MSO Academy where we're training young musicians very specifically for a life in the orchestra. We have Cybec Young Composers. We have First Voices composer program, which is new this year, so First Nations composers. We have Ensemble du Thaler in residence. I think that's about it. I might have forgotten something.
There's probably more, but that's probably enough.
Lots of great programs in that area.
Yeah, amazing, wonderful. Thank you, Nick. Anne, I have a question for you. You're of course, an oboe in the orchestra, and also, if I may say, the most fashionable member of the MSO by a long way. But you have another important role with the orchestra, which is that you're the president of the Players Committee, and you're also part of the Artistic Committee. Can you tell us a bit about how the musicians have been involved in bringing the season together, please?
Yeah, sure. The musicians have a huge part to play in the 2023 season, as every other season. The Artistic Committee is made up of 10 or 11 musicians and our wonderful artistic planning team. And we meet regularly throughout the year to look at any artistic concerns that we might have. So one of the things that we do is we'll talk about programs that we've already done, and we'll talk about conductors, and we'll discuss conductors that we've enjoyed working with and ones we'd like to see come back, and other conductors that we would like to work with. And so the whole thing is a real collaborative process. So well before the season's actually been put together, we're already talking about these sorts of things. And then the artistic team then go away and they take that information and they put the season together.
We've got an artistic committee meeting on the 2024 season this Friday.
We do indeed, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Dale, I think I've got a question for you. I can't remember what it was though. Oh, that's right. Something that we haven't actually spoken about much tonight is the series of concerts at Melbourne Recital Centre. And these are quite different to the concerts that happen here at Hamer Hall. For someone who's never been, can you tell us why they're different, what's special about them, and what we can expect in 23?
Yeah, absolutely. The season at MRC, which is the Melbourne Recital Centre across the street, for anyone who hasn't been there, it's an absolutely gorgeous 1,000-seat concert hall, so smaller than this, and it allows us to play repertoire that we never get to do in here because this is just such a big symphonic space. So we generally program works in that series that are more intimate, lots of chamber orchestra works, and it gives us an opportunity to really think outside the box. And often we don't work with conductors in this series. So this is the chance for the musicians themselves to take ownership over what they're doing. And Christopher Moore, our principal violist, has been helping to kind of to run this series for the last couple of years, and we've got 3 really, really interesting programs. The first one involves Paul Grabowski, one of Australia's preeminent jazz musicians, jazz pianist, and he's played a huge part in co-curating that program, which really explores the kind of the relationship between jazz and classical music. So that'll be a really fascinating program. And then the second MRC concert, Chris will be directing that one. And it's a beautiful program. It involves a new commission about light called Lumen by Mary Finsterer, and the absolutely glorious Vaughan Williams Fantasia on the theme of Thomas Tallis, which if you've never heard that work, it's for strings. It is one of my favorite pieces in the world. And then the third program is one that I'm going to be directing alongside one of MSO's newest pals, the fabulous Christian Lee, who will be playing 2 concertos with the MSO next year. I think you mentioned earlier he's playing Sibelius Concerto here in Hamer Hall, but in this program he will be playing Mozart's 3rd Violin Concerto. So this program really focuses on the child prodigy, Christian himself, and Mozart, of course, and Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn wrote his first symphony at the age of 15, and so that will round out that program. So lots of things to look forward to next year.
And you, as Catherine, I think, said, you will be premiering the new Elena Katz-Chernin double concerto with Rachel Tobin. What's it like to premiere a piece like that, a new work like that? Sorry, surprise question.
It's a great privilege. I mean, you're bringing to life a work that has never seen the light of day before, and it's a huge responsibility. Especially, usually one can go and listen to other artists' recordings when you're preparing a work, but in this case, we don't have that luxury. But instead, we have the luxury of working with Elena, and Elena's a great friend and someone who I just adore. And so I'm really excited to have this opportunity to work so closely with her.
Yeah, and there's a you'll be able to read it in the brochure, but there's a beautiful story behind the commissioning of that work. It'll be a really special moment in the season, I think. We have in fact run out of time, so I have to ask you the final question. Anne, what is your 2023 season highlight?
Definitely Jaime conducting Alpine Symphony for me. Can't wait to play some Strauss with Jaime, and also I love having Brock, who's our contrabassoon player, come and sitting in the oboe section. He actually plays the heckelphone, which is a deep version of the oboe. It's quite difficult to play, so he actually every time has to learn all of the different fingering. He's just incredible. Makes a different reed for the instrument and everything. But it is just glorious, that work. And the other thing I have to throw in there, because I'm an oboist, is the Brahms Violin Concerto with Elena Schwartz conducting. I'm so excited about that. It's a beautiful work, got a beautiful oboe solo for those of you who don't know it. And I think it'll be great to work with Elena as well for the first time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Nick, what's your season highlight?
It's so difficult, isn't it? It's an amazing season with such an incredible range of music, but since Anne picked 2, I'm going to pick 2 as well. All right. I'll be quick, I promise. I'm really looking forward to the Elgar Cello Concerto, both in its actual performance, and we get to talk about it in the Ears Wide Open, because that piece is incredibly important to me as for why I actually ended up being a cellist in the first place. And the other thing I'm really excited about, again in the emerging artists area, it's actually the 20th anniversary of the Siebeck 21st Composer Program. 21st Century Composer Program. So it's really exciting to actually get to that sort of landmark with such an amazing program that's just done so many great things for orchestral music.
And we're actually going to start the season, even before the season opening gala, with a special Siebeck showcase to celebrate 20 years and all the amazing young composers that have gone through that program, which will be exciting.
Yeah,
That's a highlight for me too, I think. And Dale, your season highlight?
Well, I have to say I'm really looking forward to the Jazz at Lincoln Center with Wynton Marsalis. Am I allowed to say that as a classical musician?
Of course you can.
I actually had the opportunity to sit in the audience the last time they came here and watch the MSO just rock out. It was one of the highlights of my my career with the MSO, even though I wasn't playing. But they were absolutely extraordinary, and I can't wait to work with them. But on a classical note, I have to say, opening the season next year with Mahler 5 and the 4 last songs. I mean, that's
an embarrassment of
program
riches,
made in heaven. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, look, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of tonight's 2023 season launch. Brochures, as I said, are available for you to collect in the foyer or download online if you're watching online. A huge thank you to all of our guests who have joined us tonight, to Dean, Dylan, Jaime, Mary, Catherine, Anne, Nick and Dale. Thank you so much for joining us. And a huge thank you to all of you for joining us tonight, both here in Hamer Hall and on YouTube. And of course, thank you for your support of the MSO. The bar is still open, so please come and have a drink with us. And we're just going to leave you with a video recapping some of the highlights of our 2023 season. Thank you.